What's going on YouTube? So today we're with the refreshed 2025 Honda Civic Hatchback. But not just any hatchback, this is the new hybrid model. And this thing is promising to be sporty, efficient, and practical. So should this be your next car choice? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Now, of course, let's get started here with our spec dump. So under the hood, you've got two different powertrain selections. As I already mentioned, this is the new hybrid variant. It's a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine paired with 2 electric motors to make 200 total system horsepower. That's going to be paired with an eCVT, and we have a combined fuel economy of 48 mpg.
Now the base price for the Civic Hatchback is $27,500, and if you're looking to buy one or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes to get the best price. Now, of course, we'll also be taking this out for a spin to show you what that hybrid powertrain is all about. While we're on that spin, we'll get things like our sound level reading, and then at the end, we'll discuss resale and reliability.
But let's go ahead and close up the hood because we need to take a look at the exterior as well as the interior first. Now, starting out here with the front end design, like I was saying, this is the refreshed 2025 model. So that means you're going to see some small tweaks to the overall design aesthetic. Nothing that's going to, absolutely blow your mind, but that's pretty typical for the Honda brand. That being said, it's still very handsome. You've got a sport grille up here in the front with a nice gloss black finish. This element here is body color, and then the bottom part here is also going to be a dark finish. Now, in terms of the hatchback, you do have one less trim level than the sedan. You're missing that base LX, so all the trims will be sport trims. As far as our headlights are concerned, you have standard full LED headlights. These are reflector beam LEDs, and then you've got your daytime running light and turn signal indicator across the top. Now, as far as the rear is concerned, of course, this is the place where you're going to most see that it is the hatchback model.
Yeah, of course, it has a very unique design to it. It's actually a ½ inch wider than the sedan as well. And let's talk about some of those design elements. We do have a wiper right here, a sloped glass area, kind of a built-in spoiler, and then we have the full-length taillights that go across the back. Drew hopped inside so we can see if all the elements are LED. We do have an LED brake light, however, our reverse light and turn signal indicator are both incandescent. So I wish that was fully LED, but overall it's a decent taillight unit. We do have sport touring and hybrid branding. And then down here at the very bottom, we do not have exposed exhaust outlets for this model, although I do think it does have a very sporty look overall.
Now, moving on to the wheels, you are going to have a standard 18-inch alloy on all the hatchback models. As you can see, we've got the contrast design on this sport touring with a kind of gray finish. I think they look quite nice. And then moving up here to our mirrors, these are always going to be gloss black. You also will have standard heating and blind spot monitoring.
Now at this side, the hatchback version of the Civic comes in at 179 inches long, which is about 5 inches shorter than the sedan, but you'll see later on that does not negatively impact your space whatsoever. Now we do also have blacked out window surrounds, and as far as your safety systems are concerned, we're going to have every single one of those as standard equipment. That will even include things like adaptive cruise control with their traffic jam assist. But guys, I think you're going to be very pleasantly surprised with what Honda has done on the inside, so let's dive into that. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then, we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
No matter what you're looking for, from our long-term vehicle videos to our side-by-side comparisons, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars. Moving to the interior next, here's our key fob before we get inside. Typical Honda key fob. As you can see, we've got smart entry and we have remote start on the fob as well. Just reach behind the handle, that will unlock the door. And then take a look inside the cabin. Now, just like with the exterior, the interior is going to be, more of a small refresh. That being said, it really didn't need much in terms of updates, in our opinion. Now, before we get into, specific details of the update, let's talk about the seats. You would get a standard fabric and leatherette seat if you get that standard sport trim level. However, with our sport touring trim level, we are going to get the full leather seat. We also have the exclusive gray color, so you can only get gray if you get the hybrid powertrain. Otherwise, you're going to get black instead. The seats are going to be power adjusting on this top spec, manual adjusting on the lower models. But let's go ahead and get inside. And now that we have climbed inside, let's look at the rest of the cabin materials. Beginning over here on the door trim, you have a nicely padded leatherette area for your arm to rest against. We also have leatherette in the center here, matching with the seats. Soft touch plastic along the top, piano black accenting. Soft touch plastic will cover the entire upper dashboard. We have more of the piano black that goes through the center here with that single vent effect. And our lower panel here has a faux carbon fiber trim on it. It is going to be hard touch along the side, but everything in here, in typical Honda fashion, feels very solid and well put together. Let's fire it up with the push button start. As it was starting up, you probably noticed we've got the digital gauge cluster. That's because here on the Sport Touring trim level, you are going to get that. It is reconfigurable with a few different design layouts that you can pick. And then as we pull back to the steering wheel, one thing you'll notice is that all the hatchbacks will come with the leatherette wrapped steering wheel. It's got the nice cross-stitching detailing. It's not going to be heated on any of the trim levels, but the top spec does give you rain sensing wipers. And now let's go ahead and jump into interior storage. So Civic is a Honda after all, and Hondas usually, basically always, really impress when it comes to this, and this is going to be no exception. Even though this is just a compact sedan or hatchback, we've got a bunch of donuts inside of here. And of course, here at Car Confections, we do like to do the donut test, and that's going to tell you the volume of the donuts that we can fit inside. Up in front of that, we've got a couple cup holders. Also have a nice wireless phone charging pad through there. That's going to be on the top model as well. Then in terms of the shifter, even though it's a hybrid, we don't have any electronic shifter or push button style, just a traditional one, pull back for drive. The only thing that's different is the fact that our paddle shifters here, these actually control the regen modes on this hybrid version. Heading into reverse, you're going to see our standard backup camera. It does have active trajectory, and you have 3 different views you can choose between in typical Honda fashion. And then back behind that, you're going to have your electronic parking brake with your brake hold function, as well as your drive mode controller. Now continuing upward, we've got our climate controls. This is kind of our typical Honda affair. Dual zone automatic climate comes on the Sport Hybrid version and above. Also the same is going to be true for our 3-stage heated seats. Up above, we've got the volume knob for your audio systems. Standard on the hatchback will be an 8-speaker sound system. We have the Bose 12-speaker sound system on the Sport Touring, and let's hear a sample right now. So I have to say, pretty impressed by this sound system. Really fills up the cabin nicely. It's one of the best ones in the compact space. Okay, let's talk about the main infotainment system though, because there's a lot of, I think, very relevant information when it comes to selecting which trim you want with this system. So if you want what you see today, the 9-inch display, you will need to get the Sport Touring trim level. Otherwise, you're going to get a 7-inch display. The other key difference is the fact that this is running wireless, Android Auto, and Apple CarPlay. If you get the smaller display on the other 2 trims, you will need a wired connection. Finally, there's another difference to note, and that's the fact that when you're looking at this system, new for 2025, it comes with Google built in. So that means you have access natively to things like your Google Maps, Google Assistant, all those types of Google apps that you can download from the Play Store. Certainly is a nice benefit to have that you won't have access to unless you get that Sport Touring trim. Now up top, we've got the auto dimming mirror on the Sport Touring. Just be aware that it doesn't have HomeLink universal remotes. And then, if you get that middle level Sport Hybrid, that's where they'll give you this sunroof.
All right, so let's dive into the rear seat area for the Civic Hatchback. That's one of the main reasons why you buy a hatchback version of this, is for the additional practicality. Now, when it comes to the rear seat area, you're not going to gain or lose anything. It is actually going to have the exact same legroom and headroom figures as the sedan, so that's honestly kind of a nice thing. We're sitting at 37 inches of both leg and headroom. So we do have really good numbers. That's one of the very largest options in this entire segment that you can get. I'm 5'9" for reference, and we brought the official Car Confections ruler. The reason we do that is so you can see how much knee room to expect with the seat adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8". I'm 5'9", like I just said, about 8 inches of additional knee room. That's really quite impressive for this segment. My feet can also slide up underneath of the seat. And while we're down here, I will just point out no vents, no USB ports. That is something that unfortunately Honda has eliminated even here on this top end model. Now, we do get a nice fold-down armrest. It has 2 cup holders inside. If you're curious as to if a big Stanley water bottle will fit in it, it's not going to fit in this side, but it will fit in this side because they are different sizes. The seats themselves are going to be incredibly plush. That's something you certainly can't take for granted in this segment. And then over on the door trim, we do have slightly cheaper material, so it's going to be a hard touch on the upper part. We have a gray leatherette through the center section and on the armrest portion, as well as a little bit of bottle storage. Heated rear seats are not offered on the Civic. Now, walking up to the cargo area, now this is where the hatchback really comes with big benefits over the sedan. So we're sitting at 24.5 cubic feet of space behind the second row of seats. That's right. That is a massive amount of space for a vehicle of this size, and it's going to be a significant increase over what you get on the Civic sedan. So if you're going to be frequently hauling things around, just get the hatchback. It's a much more practical choice. Now, if I fold these seats down, I can easily do that just by reaching up. They fold 60-40 split with these handles. Honda does not provide the official cargo measurement with those seats folded down. However, just looking at it and eyeballing it, I would say you have at least about probably close to 50 or more cubic feet of space with those seats folded down. I actually had a friend that used to haul like lawnmowers and bicycles in a Civic hatchback, so it's quite a very practical option. Now, let's get our cargo length, width, and height figures. That's something that we do in all of our Car Confections reviews. From behind Drew's 5'8" seating position, overall cargo length is going to be sitting at 70 inches long. From behind the second row of seats to the rear, 35 inches, excuse me. Overall cargo opening, 35 inches as well. And then cargo height, 29 inches, or if you're measuring from there, about 26 inches. Now, it's worth noting the hybrid does not compromise the cargo volume at all, or the passenger volume. However, if we lift up the floor, you are not going to find a spare tire, so that's something worth noting that the hybrid does not include. We also have a little cargo cover integrated on the side. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the 2025 Honda Civic Hatchback. In this test drive, we're going to be discussing quite a few different things, as you can see on the screen right now. We'll also be getting things like our sound level reading, but first we need to start with a hard acceleration to show you what this hybrid is all about.
Alright, and that was accelerating up to 60 miles per hour with the most powerful Honda Civic outside of the Type R. So, if you watched our sedan hybrid videos, you'll know that that's kind of the fun fact with this model, because of this new hybrid powertrain having 200 horsepower and 232 pound-feet of torque. That does actually put it a little bit ahead of the Civic Si model and gives you a lot of punch. Certainly is a big improvement over that standard powertrain that you get on this model.
So as far as your numbers, this is a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine with the electric components. It's a 2-motor hybrid system, 200 horsepower, 232 pound-feet of torque. I think that torque is really what you notice right off the line when you start to accelerate. It really pushes you back in your seat for a small package like this. Now, It is worth noting if you choose, the lower end model. So here on the hatchback, that would be just your sport trim level. That will come with a different powertrain setup. It's a non-hybridized 2-liter 4-cylinder, 150 horsepower. So this is a significant upgrade in terms of horsepower as well as in torque. Definitely, I would recommend getting the hybrid because the fuel economy is also fantastic. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on. But aside from fuel economy, even just performance-wise, this hybrid is a big benefit over the standard setup you'll find.
Now, accelerating once again, let's talk about the other element of the powertrain. So this is Honda's 2-motor hybrid system, just like in their other products. This transmission situation basically is an eCVT-like transmission. That's the overall behavior. If you get the standard powertrain, it is actually a continuously variable transmission. I think the noteworthy thing about this is just how responsive it is. You do get the shift simulation as well, and overall this is really a quiet hybrid system. The engine doesn't sound too strained or anything, even when you accelerate hard.
Yeah, power is going to be routed to the ground via the front wheels exclusively though, so that is something worth noting. The Civic has not added all-wheel drive as an option yet. Now, unfortunately, there is no longer a manual transmission offered either on this Civic hatchback. You would have to choose the SI or Type R if you want that. I'm happy that those models still have it. And as far as fuel economy, let's talk about this because really quite good fuel economy regardless of which model you choose. If you choose the standard sport model with the base powertrain, that comes in at 34 miles per gallon combined. If you choose this hybrid, though, big MPG increases. 14 miles per gallon better, to be exact, 48 miles per gallon combined, which is absolutely phenomenal fuel economy. I think that alone is a reason to get the hybrid because that certainly will save you a lot in terms of fuel expense over the lifetime of the vehicle.
Now, we don't have any great curvy roads on today's drive route, but I have to mention, of course, the driving dynamics. Honda Civic has always been just a really nice handling vehicle that continues for this 2025 hatchback. You just have really good body control, not much body roll at all. The steering is really fast and responsive as well. And all in all, it just really strikes a great balance, I think, between comfort and having fun behind the wheel.
Yeah. So like Drew said, this thing does a great job of having comfort as well, so it's not just about sporty dynamics. I think that's one of the areas where this Civic hatchback does a really good job, especially compared to like Mazda, for instance. Mazda is a little bit on the sportier side, so I think this is a really good balance for most people. It has a ton of comfort. If you hit a big bump in the road, it really doesn't translate a lot of that into the cabin. Also, I find these seats to be incredibly comfortable. So overall, I think you're going to be very happy with the mix, like Drew was saying. But we're going to go ahead and speed up to 55 miles per hour so we can get our sound level reading. Honda is promising for the Sport Touring example, so this fully loaded model, that it has a little bit of extra noise cancellation. We'll see how quiet it is. We have it on fan speed 1. 60.1 decibels is what we settled in at. We don't have to sit here and guess how it compares to rivals. We can find that at carconfections.com/sound level readings. And that's not the best sound level reading. However, it does seem relatively quiet. That is something that we've seen quite a lot of Honda struggle with, is a little bit of the sound insulation inside the cabin. This is probably better than some of the more basic models. However, it's just not going to be like the very quietest option you can get in the segment. Some of the other rivals will do that a little better.
Yeah, we haven't tested out the other version of the hatchback specifically, but in terms of the sedan, I know we definitely got a higher score from the Sport sedan.
All right, let's get into our slam dunk and airball, our favorite and least favorite element. Drew, kick us off with the slam dunk.
The slam dunk just has to be the overall package. We kind of hinted at it in the beginning, but throughout this review, I think we've shown that you really do get a great package overall with having more power, better efficiency. The hatchback has all this extra practicality and utility. You take all that stuff together, plus fun to drive nature. I mean, it really is a satisfactory vehicle for a wide variety of people.
Yeah. On the airball side of things, what we're going to say is the price. We'll get into this a little bit more in detail later, but we are sitting at nearly $35,000 as tested today, which certainly represents quite a bit of a price increase over previous versions of this Civic hatchback. So just keep in mind the Civic is kind of getting pricey now, but it is a good package overall, like Drew said. And let's talk pricing. So the Civic hatchback, like Drew said at the very beginning, does not come in the LX variety, so it does start a little bit higher than the other Civics. $27,450 for the Sport hatchback. That represents a $1,200 premium over the sedan, so really not a huge difference in terms of pricing. I certainly would pick the hatchback over the sedan model. This Sport Touring Hybrid starts at $33,150. As you can see, we have the 25 Civic Hatch Hybrid Sport Touring. We also have the optional paint, $1,150 destination, $34,755, all of the features included. Now, if you're looking to buy a Honda Civic hatchback or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. It can help the dealers to start competing on price. We even have a monthly payment tool as well, so if you'd like to check all that out, you can find that in our video description, and there's a pinned comment at the top of this video. But buying a vehicle is about more than just the original MSRP, so let's dive into resale and reliability. First up, let's talk about resale value. As an economics graduate myself, Drew and I took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Civic hatchback's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth 64.8% of original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 34.3%. Now, it's worth noting those are fantastic resale value percentages. It's actually the #1 brand across every vehicle brand in the 5-year metric. Very, very impressive stuff. The Civic is a very high resale value vehicle.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several studies on reliability from trustworthy sources and combines them in a way that gives you a more holistic picture. In this regard, Honda is also one of the top-rated brands and is well above the overall industry average for all vehicle brands.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our resale values, reliability data, or our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a new vehicle is a very big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. Additionally, when it comes to your warranty, you do have a 3-year, 36,000-mile basic warranty, 5-year, 60,000-mile powertrain. Honda is also including 1 year and 12,000 miles of complimentary maintenance. Do keep in mind it used to be 2 years. However, for the 2025 model year, they have reduced that down to only 1 year now. And guys, that's going to wrap up our in-depth review of the refreshed 2025 Honda Civic hatchback. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, which we really hope you did, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to be a part of our Car Confections family. We have a lot of fun on this channel, and I promise you won't want to miss out. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.